Hey grown-ups, this is for you. Do you like stories and learning about new places? Okay, this week we're traveling to Mongolia. How about being silly?
Can I get a hi-ya? Ooh, 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 sizzle, sizzle.
And when something tough happens, could you use some advice?
I can do that if I want, because I'm not hurting you. I'm not being mean.
Then check out Story Pillar, a podcast where we tackle sticky situations, hear stories from all over the world, and pick up advice from you, our listeners. More information at storypillar.com and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
I wanna visit Dogland and run with the power pups. You got to love their style and how they never, ever, ever give up. Who loves dogs? Who loves dogs? We'll rise to the challenge. No one here is average. We are the power pups. You know we never, ever, ever give up. Dogs, dogs, you love dogs. Dogs, dogs, you love dogs.
Hello, and welcome to the Adventures of Power Dog in Dogland. We are so glad you are joining us for this very special season.
Tree!
That's right, season 3 of our story, episode 2.
May the forest be with you.
May the forest be with us all. You may remember when our story left off that Power Dog, his brother, and cousins had just had a very interesting night while visiting a special tree in a lovely park in the wonderful city of Lictopolis, capital of planet Dogland. They had been having a blast cloud running and bouncing when all of a sudden, Cloudy the Cloud Dragon appeared above them and helped them discover a strange phenomenon involving their favorite little tree. By the end of the night, they found themselves carrying a rather large and mysterious, golden glowing and glittering, acorn-shaped cone home. Power Dog opened his eyes to discover that he was quite unexpectedly and suddenly on a boat. It was a fennec fox boat, and it was flying across the waves of the Dogland Sea at breakneck speed. The wind and water droplets tugged at his cheeks, but he kept his nose in a point against the wind. He let his eyes follow his nose and saw a giant rainbow bubble dome in the distance, where he was fairly certain the island of Meowie was supposed to be. He felt his heart beating in his chest. How could this be? Again? No! He closed his eyes, held his breath, and tightened every muscle in his body. When he opened his eyes, he was suddenly back in space, completely alone, and hurtling towards something sparkling in the distance, but closing in fast. As he drew nearer, he could see that the sparkling thing was a giant planet, and it was bright red in color, with several glittering moons swinging around it on tilted orbits. Power Dog blinked and he was suddenly flying over the bright red world, but inside of its atmosphere, with a long, yellow, silky cape fluttering from his shoulders, with his front paws outstretched ahead. Above him were swirling clouds that looked like great shimmering red and purple peacock feathers, reflecting in the sunlight beyond. Below him were bright red mountains and purple rivers and little crystalline structures that looked like glass trees of almost every color he could even imagine. They were so shiny and sparkly below that it was hard to look at them and hard to not look at them all at once. As frightening as all of this was, it also felt strangely wonderful to be flying so high with warm wind currents swirling all around him. It felt like warm little paws of wind were holding him up and guiding him as he went gliding along. He couldn't make any sense of feeling scared and also kind of good at the same time. Then, he felt a strange sensation ripple across his skin, and it made his fur stand on end. He stopped feeling good and only felt scared. He looked further into the distance with his superpowered vision and saw dragons flying so fast that he was very afraid. But as the dragons flew toward him, he realized that they looked at least as afraid as he felt, and he became confused and scared. Then he saw behind the scared dragons were gigantic bats, bigger than the largest dragons and unlike any sky puppy he'd ever seen. And these very large bats had angry-looking cats sitting upon their shoulders, holding onto harnesses and chains wrapped around the bats. And they were shouting words that Power Dog couldn't understand. He strained his ears to hear them, and he felt terribly frightened. But no matter how hard he tried to dive down to the surface for cover, or to turn tail and fly away, along with those frightened dragons, he continued to fly straight toward the angry and mean cats on gigantic bats uncontrollably, his paws balled into fists and pointing forward. He felt out of control of his own body, and he could feel and hear his own heartbeat pounding in his chest. He began to shake and shiver with fear, and as he opened his mouth to cry out, he was instantly warped out of the sky as if it were folding in on him, and he found himself trapped in a cage in a ruby-red crystal cave. "Oh no!" he yelped. "No!" It was the cage he'd been trapped in when he and his pack faced the Namer. Still trembling, he began to feel utterly hopeless. And then, to make matters worse, he heard the Namer's booming voice say,
"All I want is your tree. Not even the great, great tree. Just the sacred banyan tree and its portal."
The voice seemed so much louder than before, so much so that it hurt his head to hear the words. He looked all around, but he didn't see the Namer or anyone else. He was alone with the booming voice echoing in the cave.
"All I want is your tree. All I want is your tree."
Over and over and over again. "No!" he yelped. He put his paws over his ears and continued to say, "No, no, 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 no." Then he felt someone grab his shoulders hard and clamp down even tighter. Ouch! Was it a pair of dragon's talons? Was it cat claws? It felt like claws. He tried to wriggle free, but the cage quite unbelievably stretched and squeezed and pulled until it turned into some type of net and tightened around him. He wriggled and writhed and shouted, "No!" until he opened his eyes and saw that Fetcher was holding him by both of his shoulders, and the cage net was his own blanket. And it was even his special blanket, the one he'd had his whole life, that always made him feel comfy and cozy and warm and safe. He looked all around to make sure that he was safe, and then he did the one thing that usually made him feel better. He took a big, deep breath. "Power Dog," said Fetcher, "you are okay. We are okay. You're in your own room." Power Dog looked around, nodded yes, but he still felt totally rattled and frightened. "I was having the dream." Fetcher nodded, held his little brother close. "Rainbow bubble domes and cats?" Power Dog nodded yes and added, "And Draconis." Fetcher shuddered at the name of the dragon world as well and hugged Power Dog even tighter. "Well, you're back on Dogland now. We all are. None of us have to leave unless we want to. What if it means something bad is going to happen?" "It's a dream," answered Fetcher. "We don't know what it means, but you're here at home with us right now. Focus on that. You are a dog of many powers. Things are good. Ask yourself, what is instead of what if?" Power Dog leaned into his brother and looked around the room slowly, blinking and waking up. Then they heard the sounds of dogs doing morning things. They both took deep breaths, and Power Dog remembered it was the first day of school. And that also meant that breakfast would be off the hook delicious. The whole extended family had gathered around the table for a first day of school feast, which featured piles of golden woofles, pawberries, pepperoni nom-nom-nomolets, poached eggs, or eggs cooked funny side up, cauliflower hash, and sweet Earl Greyhound tea. And, of course, Dogland's delicious bananas that peel themselves open when you boop them with your nose. As beautiful and delicious as this spread was, they all wanted to have a good look at and talk about the golden cone thingamajig. Every dog was so interested in what had happened with the tree, the pups, and the cloud dragon that Taffy had almost missed the morning ferry boat ride back to the islands, where she would continue to study marine biology with their friend Seely and their magnificent alien pal, Baba Lava Badaba. Luckily, Mom Slice was also headed down to the islands to continue studying the sacred banyan tree on Meowie, so Taffy would have company on her voyage. Mom Slice gave her sons one more little nuzzle each and headed into the kitchen, where Dog Wings, Power Dog's father, was licking the breakfast dishes clean and putting them in a rack to dry. Okay, don't say ew. I mean, that is just how dogs, even on Dogland, clean things. And especially if they have perfectly good, yummy food leftovers to lick up from whatever needs cleaning. And on Dogland, whoever gets to clean the dishes is a total winner. Have you ever heard the phrase, winner, winner, chicken dinner? Well, it might just be a very rough translation of what they say on Dogland, which is winner, winner, lickin' dinner. After Taffy and Mom Slice had headed out and the breakfast table was all tidied up, it was determined that the best thing to do was for Power Dog and Tuffy to take the golden thingamajig to school with them. They had considered that it could be a special tree gift that they could just put on display in their apartment, much like they had with several pine cones and remarkable sticks, as well as the sky flower that Fetcher had been previously gifted. But the Cloud Dragon's involvement made the whole situation much more curious, and the two pups were both set to take a very important class called Dendrology. As such, school might just be the perfect place to bring a mysterious tree object to. Den what? Power Dog had asked when his parents had helped him sign up for this class a few weeks before. It's basically tree class, exclaimed his father, who also happened to be a Dogland-renowned geohistorian. You'll learn all about the trees and also more about the history of our world. Tuffy, who was completely in love with the biology of plants and studying gardening at the college, was very excited to be signed up for this class with Power Dog. Fetcher would head back out to the desert dens and see if Cody had any information or ideas about any mysterious tree objects. But first, he'd walk his cousin and still rattled brother Power Dog to the shuttle stop where Tick-Tock Bunny would pick them up and whisk them away up to the college moon. Now, the first day of school at the College of the Dog Arts might look like pure chaos to you or to me. Animals are scurrying everywhere, and no one seems to know exactly where or when to be. But dogs are pretty sensible beings, so first days of pretty much anything on Dogland are more about sniffing around, exploring the turf, getting a lay of the land, as they might say, and of course, getting to meet and see each other. Luckily for Power Dog and Tuffy, this wasn't their first time having a first day, and they already knew where their dorm room was. As they were settling into their room and unpacking their things, Power Dog took the shiny golden thingamajig out of the bag and set it on the middle of their shared desk. He stared down at it and marveled at how it seemed as though he could see liquid inside of it. What was it made of, he wondered. Tuffy came to stand next to him and also stared into it. It's so strange, right? Do you think our tree class teacher will know what it is? Asked Tuffy. I don't know, Tuff. My dad said that Professor Chiroptera knows more about forest mysteries than any dog he's ever known. And he said the professor retired from the Obliterati. Tuffy's eyes were bright and shiny with wonder. Both of them had been fascinated by the winged dogs of the night, the fearless bats of the Obliterati, since they could remember. And by now, they'd encountered them when they needed them most. As quiet observers and likely advisors in Cody the Coyote's desert den, on the side of the mysterious new mountain that formed in the northernmost reaches of Dogland, now called Snow Nose Mountain, and most profoundly of all, across the very Dogmos on the dragon world of Draconis, where the Obliterati were instrumental in saving the pups from a power-hungry and misguided individual, whom they also helped bring to justice. I'm glad we have sport first, though, said Power Dog, who could feel the energy and excitement building in his body and needing to escape through wiggles and zooms. You are? Questioned the also-wiggly Tuffy. Don't you want to find out what is up with this thing as soon as possible? Yeah, of course I do. But I already had like a million questions I wanted answers to from before. I mean, who's got time for a new mystery? Oh yeah, good point, agreed Tuffy as he looked down at Power Dog's journal on the desk next to the golden cone. It was open to a page of notes about the secret cats of Meowie. Maybe next time we see Lupo, they will know more. Power Dog nodded. Yeah, I just think there's so much that Roger and Cody and, I don't know, maybe even TikTok Bunny know but aren't telling us. Well, maybe that's a good thing, said Tuffy. Power Dog nodded, considering this. Fair point, Tuff, which brings us back to having something to do. Sport, agreed Tuffy, wiggling his tail and back end excitedly. Power Dog grabbed a disc toy and they headed out the door for their first class. Both Power Dog and Tuffy were delighted when they got to the biggest gymnasium on the college moon and found that TikTok Bunny would be the class teacher trainer. Hey, everybody, said TikTok with a big, warm grin as Power Dog and Tuffy joined their classmates. Hello, replied everyone. We have some friends joining us from off-world momentarily, said TikTok as he waved a paw toward the big, open roll-up door of the gym that was nearly as big as one whole wall. Power Dog and Tuffy perked up as they saw a pack of brightly colored dragons swoop in. It was the young dragons they'd met on Draconis called the Dracovolens, who just happened to also have been instrumental in saving the day. The young dragons rolled themselves into balls in the air and bowled themselves into the gym, unfurled and stood strong and tall, smiling. I believe most of you know our dragon friends from the planet Elementar, said TikTok Bunny. It's been such a pleasure to have them visit us all summer long. Everyone was excited to see the Dracovolens, who'd become fast friends with the dogs, bringing them treasures and treasurable stories from other worlds that seemed to be as chock full of adventures as Dogland. The young dragon smiled, and a bright red dragon stepped forward. Hello, we are the Dracovolens. We are so glad to join you today on your marvelous floating moon and in your wonderful college classes. My name is Vulcanean. Next, a bright blue dragon said, Hello, I am a water dragon. My name is Marine. Marine nodded to an electric yellow dragon with a black stripe down the middle of their body and amazing iridescent butterfly wings. And the yellow dragon nodded and said, I am Thunderlight, and this is Or-E. Or-E, a dragon the color of bright shining copper with shiny metallic wings, waved their delicate hand-like talon hello, nodded and said, And this is Elementar, named for our world, and bearing qualities of all elements known to the universe. Elementar smiled and nodded as well. Before everyone could get too restless, TikTok Bunny blew on his trusty coach's whistle. And then he hollered, Welcome, Dragon Pals. All right, who's ready to play Dragon Soccer? Oh, yeah! Responded everyone as Power Dog and Tuffy leaped into the air for a perfect high paw. Now, let me see. How best to describe the absolute chaos, mayhem, and fun of dragon soccer? The dogs and the dragons split up, and they have two teams that have just as many who can fly as those who cannot. And no one is allowed to fly higher than the height of a dog off the ground. But they can fly as fast as they want, just above the ground. And teammates can ride on one another's backs. In fact, it's very much encouraged. Dogs can whip themselves into a frenzy, like the zoomies, and go as fast as a dragon can fly across the pitch or playing field. And dragons can shoot across the thin pocket of air above the ground like a winged air hockey puck, all in pursuit of this very light balloon-like ball that they hope to kick, push, or shoot into a goal. It's fast, and it's furious, and it's furious, and it's fun. After a zooming husky-type dog with a golden retriever-type dog riding on their back sunk the last goal of a presumably tied game where no one kept score anyway, Tick-Tock Bunny blew his whistle again. End of match. All right, friends, great game, great hustle, great teamwork, great fun. When Tick-Tock Bunny's whistle blew, Tuffy was riding on Marine's back. Power Dog was hovering like a doggo-copter just off the ground. Everyone was grinning from ear to ear. Ori and Thunderlight were on the other side of the pitch, giving doggy back rides to two twin raccoon-type dogs. "Are you all going to stay for a while?" asked Tuffy as he slid off of Marine's back and the other dragons made their way over for high paws and hugs. All 5 of the Draco villains smiled, and Power Dog noticed that they all made eye contact with each other briefly before they nodded yes, and Vulcanean said, "Yes, we are going to take one more very important class here." "Oh?" questioned Power Dog. The dragons nodded again, just as Tick-Tock Bunny beckoned all of the students into a circle to draw the first day of sport class to a close. Power Dog's mind started to race, imagining his classes with dragons, and he wondered if they knew and liked a lot of the same things he did. Do dragons like and make music? Do they dance? What would be a very important class to them? "All right, friends," called Tick-Tock Bunny with a gentle smile. "You're off to a wonderful start for a wonderful school term. Before we go, I want to share with you a favorite practice of mine called tree meditation. Let's all take a moment to plant ourselves and close our eyes." Tick-Tock stood tall and mimed planting his feet into the ground. "Now, raise your branches up to the sun," he said, smiling as he raised his paws facing up to the sunlight above them. Power Dog noticed the mountain husky dog was helping the golden retriever both stand up and reach up. The dragons watched with excited smiles and followed the dog's lead by also planting their feet and closing their eyes while smiling contentedly, talons and wings reaching up. Power Dog joined too, paws up to the sky, but when he sensed that everyone's eyes were closed, he cracked just one eye slightly open to have a look at the dragons. And when he did, he saw Vulcanean finish whispering something very closely into Elementar's ear as Elementar nodded and looked very, very serious. In fact, all of the dragon friends looked very, very serious. All right, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining us. Now I'm joined by my co-author and the kid with the most Dogland knowledge, Hank.
Gonna get a hiya.
Hiya.
It's just hiya.
There you go.
That's how you do it. It
And then
be
how
hello,
about-
hi? I'll just say hiya. Hiya.
Okay, Hank, are you ready to tell me a joke?
Hiya. What does a dragon eat for a snack?
What?
Firecrackers.
Got another one?
Oh, yeah. How do dragons study for a test in school?
How?
They don't. They just wing it.
I wish we had you on video for that one. Your delivery, like your physical delivery.
Wing it. Yeah.
Wing it.
Just wing it.
Oh my God. Did you just wing gab? Thank you, listeners. If you liked what you heard, you can see more content at our website, PowerDogAdventures, all one word.com. There you can sign up for our infrequently emailed newsletter and also submit any good dog jokes. And we'll be forever grateful if you feel like telling your friends about the show too. If you are looking for more great shows, then please check out the other members of Kids Listen, a grassroots organization dedicated to high-quality audio for kids and families. There are well over 100 great shows to find there. Ask your grown-up to check out kidslisten.org to find out more. Special thanks to our creative partner, the inimitable Jason Roark, who makes these stories sound extra good with his wise counsel, recording, sound design, and even original music. This podcast has been made possible in part by funding provided by the Regional Arts and Culture Council in Portland, Oregon. Thank you, RAC. It has been made even more possible by listeners like you. Thank you so much for your support, and extra big thanks to our Patreon patrons who get early access to all of our episodes ad-free, as well as goodies and merch and birthday shout-outs at any level of support. We are not joking even a little when we say we could not do this without you. The Adventures of Power Dog in Dogland is created in the ancestral lands of the Cowlitz, Multnomah, Cathlamet, Clackamas, Tumwater, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Wasco, Molalla, Watlala, bands of the Chinook, and other indigenous nations and tribes of the first people who made their homes along the rivers here in what is now called Portland, Oregon. And special thanks to our own Granny and Gramps, who helped us write and record our Power Dog theme song that you'll hear at the end of the episode. Hey, Granny and Gramps, what key did y'all say that's in?
It's in D for Dogland. Till they're done. Our dog, he won't give up. When we're chasing danger and we're riding across the seas, sure he's right there leading us up, barking with the seal. Our dog, he won't give up. Our dog, he won't give up. Chases problems till they're done. Our dog, he won't give up. When we're chasing trouble and we're riding across the stars, sure he's right there beside us, just holding our paws. Our dog, he won't give up. Our dog, he won't give up. Chases problems till they're done. Our dog, he won't give up. When we're chasing trouble and we're zooming through the stars, sure he's right there beside us, just a zapping near and far. Our dog, he won't give up. Our dog, he won't give up. Chases problems till they're done. Our dog, he won't give up. When we're plugging a volcano or we're straddling a storm, our dog is right beside us at every little turn. Our dog, he won't give up. Our dog, he won't give up. Chases problems till they're done. Our dog, he won't give up. At night, Hispanic foxes, in the days, as platypuses. slow down, our dog's right beside us. Come with me to Dogland, we've got special tales to tell. And when we come together, all our tails will wag as well. So come with me to Dogland, we've got special tales to tell. And when we come together, all our tails will wag as well. Woof, woof. Wow.